So I would say he's going to be struggling to get in there. And, you know, he's tied. His career is tied to Jay Cutler. And now that they've lost, Alshon is still there. But I don't think he gets it done. The other two guys who are less proven at this point, but I really like, and, you know, could definitely do some things. You know, Pittsburgh is expected to have this high-powered offense this year, but Le'Veon Bell is a guy to keep an eye on. Ed Lacy is another guy to keep an eye on. And then also, I didn't have him written down, but I just remembered Arian Foster is a guy who's got some time in the league. I mean, you could throw Frank Gore in there. You tell me, any active backs right now you think are going to have a chance at the Hall of Fame? Now, to put all that in context, let's look at this John Riggins, 17th all-time rusher with 11,352 yards over 14 seasons. He's in the Hall of Fame. Like I just said, Steven Jackson is one in front of him. Steven Jackson's probably not getting in. We probably won't hear a speech from Mr. Jackson. Edgerrin James, 11th all-time leading rusher with 12,246 yards. One of my favorite backs, to be honest with you. The guy came in the league, I believe, his rookie year and led the league in rushing. That's pretty impressive for me. You know, Edgerrin now, I believe Tony Dungy made sure that requested to get a Super Bowl ring to Edgerrin when they won it the year after Edgerrin left. But of course, you know, that doesn't have any impact on Edgerrin James's career. He probably doesn't even wear that ring. Also, now this could be a shocker. I mean, you should know, if you watch football, you should know that Gale Sayers is in the Hall of Fame with, I believe, 66 or, 6,000 yards, something over 6,000. But he's in there. But then we have Earl Campbell, might be one of the Mount Rushmore faces of running the ball, of NFL running backs, but he's 33rd all-time leading rusher with 9,400 yards. He's in the Hall of Fame. No championship. So I just think, it's going to be interesting for these guys moving forward to have what kind of career they put together to get into Canton, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If you have any thoughts on that, please hit me up somehow. Again, on Twitter at @E_pluribus_wood. So right now, with that said, I'm going to wrap this portion of the show up. I had some other things planned, but like I said, after doing this show 2 times earlier this week and not getting either one of those recorded, it doesn't feel natural anymore of what the other points that I had to get on to. But I tell you what, I got a couple more minutes based on the runtime of this interview. Let's talk about power real quick. I put up a power show by itself. It really didn't do that well, so I'm imagining that the power crowd is kind of slim. But I just had a couple of points, man. This week was a pretty impressive show. Also, I might get into True Detective on the next Hoops and Hops, the True Detective season finale. But Power is getting ready to have his series finale this weekend. And last week, man, we lost Sean. And I just want to know how people feel about that. Cinca Wells is the actor that plays Sean. How do you feel about a somewhat major character leaving the show in just the second season? He was probably one of the good guys on the show, one of the favorites, although he was involved with a married woman. Basically, Mr. Biggs' woman, with Ghost being who he is. You just had to know that scene was getting ready to end ugly after Sean had failed Canton, 50 Cent, 2 times, in one day, where he was, he had been given the marching orders to exterminate Ghost, and it didn't happen. And Sean, became brazen enough to go back and give return the gun that was given to him back to his father. And, it was nobody in the rib joint. And Sean was getting real you know, he was talking real aggressive, and you know, his dad is sitting here trying to serve up this cold dish of revenge after, you know, spending 10 years in the box. And I just think he wasn't in the mood to be hearing this from somebody as light in that John Hine parts as Sean was. Plus, I don't know if Canton, you know, maybe has a little beef towards Sean for the fact that he was sleeping with Tasha, and you know, maybe he was like, you know, Tasha's never shown any interest in me, and I'm a man's man, whereas Sean is still a little boy. But yeah, man, Canton took out his own son this week on Power, and with that, you know, with that playing out, where does Tasha go now? You know, Angela is pretty much 100% crystal that Ghost is in fact the target of her investigation, is in fact Jamie or James St. Patrick. So where does Tasha go now? And where does you know, Ghost is still all up in the air, but you know, he got Tommy released on a technicality, so he's back out on the street. So it's setting up for a very interesting week. But like I said, my main thing is I was totally shocked to see Sean get murked at the end of this week's episode. It wasn't on the level of Omar from The Wire being shot or from Stringer Bell being shot and killed. And definitely no suspense around it. It was a headshot, so you know he's out of there. But you know, what's the fallout from that? So with that said, you know, like I said, hit me up on Twitter. Tell me about your NFL Hall of Fame running backs currently on the roster. You can get at me with a little bit of power talk. And with that said, man, I'm gonna go on and get this interview going so that I can post this later on tonight, being that the show shoots the PGA Championship jumps off tomorrow. All right, you're listening to the Pay Me No Mind show with your host Wood, and we're welcoming back my golf contributor, Mr. Ronnie Pollack. How you doing, Ronnie?
Good. How are you doing today?
Not bad at all, man. It's a great Saturday. Anything? Are you on here to talk a little bit of golf with us? Are you golfing today or this weekend?
You said, what was that? My phone cut out.
Oh, sorry about that. I said it's a pretty nice Saturday down here in Ohio. I was wondering, you came on to talk some golf. Will you be doing any golfing this weekend?
Matter of fact, I'm in the parking lot right now of a golf course. So I'm playing a little bit today and tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Are you excited about what's going on with the WGC Bridgestone at all?
You know, I unfortunately haven't watched too much of it, but you know, I've caught some of the highlights, and it's good golf. I think the last few weeks, and this tournament continues, just for the golf fans out there, some exciting and close competition. So, yeah, I think it's going well over there. All right. I see Jim Furyk is leading that today. That's actually taking place right up the road in Akron, Ohio. I see a couple of other Americans on there. Bubba Watson is tied for second. DJ and Sergio Garcia is up near the top. So it seems like that's pretty interesting. Unfortunately, due to timing and everything, we didn't get to break down or recap the British Open. Any thoughts on how that played out? I mean, neither one of us were on point with our predictions. I didn't even hear Ricky Fowler all weekend. But any thoughts on that, just to follow up on that discussion? Yeah, I think that was probably the most exciting tournament to watch this year. Anytime you get into a playoff, and especially with that many guys, it's almost like I compare it to a sudden death overtime in hockey, to where like one false move and you're done, because there's so many other players contributing to the outcome of it. So I think it was really exciting to watch. I think it was good for the PGA and their ratings. And unfortunately, Steve didn't come through, but I really thought he was. he was as close as you're gonna get without getting there. So, I think it was just this year's just been a great year for golf in general and the excitement, and I just thought it was a really good Open this year.
I agree. It was pretty interesting to me. I was a little disappointed that the Grand Slam, or not the Grand Slam, but having all the Spieths trying to get all titles in one season, the Major Slam, I guess it's called. It was a little disappointing that he wasn't able to continue it into the fourth leg of that challenge. But do you think that it kind of, I know it affects a fringe watcher like me, do you think it kind of takes away from leading into the PGA Championship?
Yes and no. I think the ratings would probably be up more if he would have won it. However, I think people are still interested to see if he can do 3 out of 4. But I think another draw is going to be, last week at Quicken Loans, Tiger played well, and he's starting to show a little more consistency, not to the point yet where we're talking maybe for sure lock in a top 5 majors finish. But along with Rory McIlroy is going to make his debut back from his injury, and I think that's going to help the draw. And so, you got those 3 guys, that are really going to draw ratings up, because everyone wants to see what Tiger's going to do, whether it's good or bad. People want to see if Spieth can win 3 out of 4, and which is amazing. And next year he could complete the Grand Slam. And then everyone wants to see what Rory's going to do and how he's playing after coming back off that injury.
Right. You kind of stole my thunder a little bit. So moving forward to the PGA Championship that'll be going down at Whistling Straits, that's held in Kohler, Wisconsin. Rory is the defending PGA champion, and like you said, he's making his way back. He's been gone for a total of 53 days. He's not getting in any real competition swings. Does that bode well for him, or does that kind of hinder your expectations, for him to kind of defend his title?
I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to do so. The other day I was watching some of his practice videos in terms of what he's been doing for physical therapy for recovering, and then also some range work. And he's taking it a little light. He's not going full bore yet, and I think the lack of reps won't benefit him. As great of a player as he is, I don't know if it's going to destroy his chances, but he wouldn't be my favorite to win, just based off of we don't know how this ankle is going to hold up when you're really putting the amount of force that he normally would in a competition atmosphere on that ankle. So just kind of based on that, I wouldn't be shooting for him if I was a betting man to pull out the victory.
Okay. One thing I found was interesting looking into Whistling Straits a little bit. So we're just coming off we're a few weeks removed from the British Open Championship, and you mentioned in that one that it was a link style course, and you gave a description or a breakdown of what's the difference in a link style course. I know what you said. I can really only paraphrase it in that the course does not look like all the beautiful scenery that we see at Augusta.
Yeah, it's basically, it's been a year of links golf for major championships. This course, it's not identical, but if you're going to make a comparison in terms of what major does this course look like, it looks like Chambers Bay. It looks like the U.S. Open. Right on the water. Going to have windy conditions. It mimics Chambers Bay, except I do know Whistling Straits, the greens are a little better, and that's just because Chambers Bay is still such a young course for what they were trying to make the U.S. Open into. Actually, it was pushed ahead like 5 years, I was told, or so. So the Chambers Bay didn't get time to mature, but Whistling Straits is matured course